Happy Tuesday. Good morning. I am starting the Instagram live. There we are. Boom. Thanks for joining Shift Your Thinking Tuesdays with yours truly, Lisa Puerto, super agent. And ta-da! And scene. I will give you guys a moment to settle in on Instagram Live. What's happening here on Facebook. Good morning, Facebook, fam and friends, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. We have an interesting topic today. I'm calling it, but saying it feels so effing good. So today's topic on our series of Shift Your Thinking Tuesdays, do it here. Good morning, Justin. Today's topic is profanity is nothing more than a momentary lapse in creativity. I don't know if I agree. So I'm calling this topic this morning, but saying it feels so good. Yeah, baby. And we know there are some phenomenal speakers out there who sometimes use profanity as a way to shock the system. Are you one of those people that uses it to shock the system, or are you just dropping F-bombs and curse words all the time? Sometimes it can hurt the ear and the mind, and then sometimes people will kind of stop and think like, yo, ease up. Let me just do some logistics here. Let me just go ahead and share. Let me just adjust my camera here. Yeah, I'm good there. Good morning, Instagram. And let me share it over here. And let's see, where am I? I want to make sure we share the video. Cool, just boom. Go over there and share to a page. All right. Good. Make sure everybody's joining in this morning on this beautiful planet, wherever you are. So this is a good one. I feel this is a great one right now. So today's topic is profanity is nothing more than a momentary lapse in creativity. The author says, I've always wondered who used the first curse word and how profanity evolved. Think about it, he says. It had to start off with a single word in a single circumstance. For some reason, it caught on. And we now have enough words and phrases to create a profanity dictionary. We may never know the origin of the thousands of curse words and phrases, but they are here. And the way I see it, profanity does have many uses. I agree. I think profanity does have many uses. And oftentimes we use it as an expression of stress and emotion and getting all up in a frenzy and tinsy. And we tend to drop it out there. As daggers too, I think some people use it as daggers. I would like to say that I have gotten better over the time. I think from as a kid, and then I know I was in a relationship where I was very mindful of not using profanity with the man that I was with. And that was kind of interesting. It was kind of cool because that was self-control. That was self-control. He says sometimes we use it to relieve stress, like I said, or make us feel good. That's why I called it, but saying it feels so effing good. Some of us are using it to express ourselves. And, we have to remember that words have power, words have power, words have power. And those words we're choosing carry vibration. So are those vibrations lowering you or are they raising you? So we just kind of have to think about it, right? This is Shift Your Thinking, and we have to be mindful about the words that we are using. So he says, mostly it's used to emphasize points, to embed more intensity or impact into our communication. We also use profanity in conversation as a tool, albeit a dull one. Yeah, he says the tragic part of profanity is that it generally shows up in the most emotional, opportune parts of a conversation, a time where life or death can be brought forth in the power of words. I'm going to stop there. I think that's a good point. Oh, man, profanity. So I've had a great opportunity to practice communication. I think especially right here, because even when I'm sharing with you, I'm also paying attention to my tone. So I'm a very excitable person. And so the speed of which I speak can speed up. And then when I feel myself getting all this energy, because I can then feel it, I can actually feel it all in my chest, the excitement I feel. And then when I start to feel the intensity in my chest, I then slow down. I'm mindful. I'm doing this mindful practice of communication. And those are things that I put into play as well when we can easily drop an F-bomb or say the S word or the B word or the A word and all the alphabet words. But when you are mindful of those words and the vibration of it, and you can use it strategically, because again, there are some powerful, phenomenal speakers out there that are using it strategically to shock the system in another individual. And the question becomes, are we shocking the system in another individual, or are we touching triggers? Because those words can have some trigger effect for individuals, like especially if you may be in a toxic relationship and you've been called the B all the time, right? Whatever relationship that is. And the other person has always called you the B word, the B word, the B word. That can be a trigger for you. And if someone is communicating with you and they drop that word, subconsciously, it's activating a trigger in your mind of something you've experienced. And so we have to be mindful of the words that we're using that could possibly be creating triggers in other people. And it may negate the entire message in which we're trying to get across. So that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. So he goes on to say, he says, we think profanity opens up conversation, but really it closes mind, shuts down possibility, bears poor witness, and in subversive manner makes us feel smaller and less intelligent than we use it. And here's the thing, I like to say this, and in the book that I wrote, it's important to be mindful of code switching. I think profanity is one of those things that is code switching. We could code switch. There's a time and a place, and as long as we're being mindful of using it. But I think for overall, we're getting caught up in the emotional aspect. Like he said, we're using it in the most inopportune time, and it can have an adverse effect to what we're really creating, right? We're just going to spawn more triggers. We're going to create more issues rather than wanting to maybe make an impact, a positive impact. And this is part of the Shift Your Thinking Tuesday series, is so that we're making positive impact in our own lives. That way we can transform the external experience for ourselves with everyone else. So he says, what could happen if we struggle to exercise our minds rather than indulge in a bit of verbal lack? Wow. Verbal lack. Oh my gosh. I have to, let me type that here on the screen. Verbal lack. Verbal lack. Wow. No, that's not it. I mean, verbal lack. What could we could, there's so many ways we can improve ourselves if we were improving our forms of communication and being mindful of the words that we use. And I'm very strategic, because for one, it feels good. It feels good for me to be mindful of the words that I use and to slow down the intonations and my speed so that I know I am exercising great communication skills with the people or the individual that I'm sharing with. So could you imagine how much more we can improve our lives in the words that we're using. I'm processing that. And this is part of every day. Like, I genuinely am reading this for the first time. So when, just like anything that I read, I'd like to take that in and really take in that moment. And I like the way the author expressed this verbal lack. Oh my gosh. And especially when we're talking about people who come from a lack mentality and don't realize it, you can come from a verbal lack, from a place of verbal lack with the language that you're using. That's huge, you guys. That is very huge. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining me on Instagram Live. We're doing our Shift Your Thinking Tuesdays. And today's topic is, but it feels so freaking good. And it's just improving our ways and our words to communication. And oftentimes we're using profanity as a way to express ourselves. And the author here in Shift Your Thinking says, albeit a dull way, and sometimes, and he talks about verbal lack. And I really like that. That's an interesting way of putting it, verbal lack. Oh my gosh. So that is interesting. That is very interesting. Profanity, but it feels so good. I've gotten better, you guys, over time. I know sometimes I can drop a couple F-bombs, but I do use it to shock the system. I have always been strategic in the words that I use. Sometimes people use it in jest and fun, but also words have power and they're not going into the abyss. And that's what I keep saying. These words that we're speaking out of our mouths do not fall into the abyss. They are landing somewhere. So that is something we have to be very mindful about. These words that we speak are landing somewhere. And are you planting those seeds in the person across from you, in front of you, next to you, side of you? And then especially when we're in the places of public arenas where children are involved. Oh my gosh, the poor babies, their ears, to be hearing some of these words that people are throwing out there. And then even in the music, right? I sometimes think about that. It's in the music and we're planning those. So we can definitely work on raising our vibration of those words. So that's my time for today's Shift Your Thinking Tuesday. If you haven't had a chance yet to like, subscribe to the channels or the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at LA Super Agent, and YouTube at LA Super Agent, do so now. I'm also going to announce today's winner of Shift Your Thinking. For those of you who have subscribed to the site and supported, thank you for building with me. I really appreciate you. And this is my gift to you. So you grab a copy of Shift Your Thinking. So I'm going to announce our next winner. Have a phenomenal, powerful, productive Tuesday. I'll see you soon. Love you.